It's maddening. There's junior hires everywhere.
And yes, Katie, we are fine. But now everybody knows where we're going.
Let's just say I heard the truth.
All right, it's a Super Worthless Podcast, episode 10. We've been doing this for half a year. You know me, I'm Bryce. On the other side, we have Nathaniel Worth.
What's up? What's up?
What's
What's
up? There, I figured I'd give you
There
a
it
good old
is.
yeehaw.
There it is. Good old yeehaw.
Yeah, new soundboard. We're gonna use it today. Random question: Is your name on your birth certificate actually Nathaniel, or is it just Nathan?
Nope. Just Nathan.
It is just
When
Nathan.
people call me Nathaniel, I don't even care. You can just tell me whatever you want.
Yeah,
I'm just tired of correcting people. I'm just like, yeah, sure.
that's true. Well, it's like
I'm just tired of it at this
Madison's
point.
name. Like I've always had her in my phone as Maddie, like Madi, but she sent me a paper from like when she. You all right?
Yep.
That sounded brutal.
I just smashed my finger. It's all good. Keep going.
That sounded like you snapped a pinky in half. Oh, that sounded great. But anyways, no, Madison sent me a picture before she graduated this spring of like one of her pieces of homework or something like that. She wrote her name as Maddie Rosenberger with 2 D's, and I was like, hold on a minute.
Wait.
I literally asked, I was like, since when do you spell it with 2 D's? She's like, I've always done it that way. I just don't correct people when they do it with one. I'm like, we've been friends for how long and you didn't tell me this? I was like, I feel like an idiot. I was like, like 6 years and I didn't. Okay.
Oof.
I was like, I'm like, that's a minor oof.
That's an ope.
So, yeah, it's a bit of an ope. Anyways, on to today's episode. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks, and a lot will happen in the next 2 weeks. There's a lot is starting. A lot has ended. We'll cover some of what the baseball playoffs are going to be doing, moving on without our beloved Indians. The NBA kicking off next week on our off week. Winter Jam announced their lineup for this year, so we'll get to that. Top 3, which you had a pretty good one, and it took me a little bit of thinking, but I have a little bit of a wild card in there. I don't know if it's really a wild card, but
I like it.
But there's a goodie, an oldie, and a fresh face. So I've got 3 different eras, kind of. And then we'll make our picks. Per usual, could get juicy.
Woo.
So we'll kick it off.
Guess who's in first place? Wait. We got to establish who's in first place here.
Yeah, okay. I will acknowledge that you are starting off very well. You are top of the leaderboard currently.
I will not give up my lead.
That's gonna be a tough one to hang on to.
Take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, you're only 110 points ahead of me, which is like 10 games, so it's a little bit to catch up. But
If you think I'm gonna lose, like if I'm gonna lose 10 games, you are smoking crack, sir.
Hey, you don't know. I mean, you've seen the week so far. It's anything can happen. The Browns almost tied for a second time today, or this year, and we'll get to that because we were at that game on Sunday, and
it was wild.
And I might even dare to say it was wild in the worst way.
Yeah, for real.
Only because of the referees. Like I enjoyed the Christmas Eve game.
Red Joseph in the street. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true. So, all right, let's get down to this. First off, we got baseball, and we want to get this out of the way because our beloved Indians have been knocked out of the playoffs, unceremoniously ending Chief Wahoo's 69-year reign over Cleveland on the field. It's tragic, but the one thing I thought about, it was several months ago when I was like, you know what? I like to find things that just line up and see if it's a coincidence or not. In this case, I just hit my mic stand. So that's what that was. But in this case, regarding the Indians, Chief Wahoo was starting was first used, and they started using Chief Wahoo on the uniforms on field in 1949, a year after we won our last World Series.
Mm-hmm.
We got to the World Series 2 years ago, lost. Last year, didn't happen. This year, not even close. So this whole time, even though we've been bad, we've been really good, gotten close, Chief Wahoo has not won a World Series. And he goes into the bank and into the graveyard not having won a World Series. But we've won a World Series with the Block C, so the Block C is back, and it's now the king of Cleveland on the field. I'm still going to wear Chief Wahoo in the stadium, though.
So what you're saying is you're guaranteeing us a World Series win next year? Is that what you're saying?
You know what? I'm going to put it out there. I think we can.
Oh,
we
right.
have...
Hot take.
Yeah. They have to... There's going to be some players leaving.
We have to not suck.
That's true. But this is the one thing I wanted to talk about, and I didn't write it down, and I'm glad I just remembered it. Who do you think... This is my version of top three, which has nothing to do with this, and it's not going to happen every week. But who do you think the 3 players that are currently on the roster that will not be there next year? Because they're going to have to make trades to get better. And it's going to be... I guarantee we're going to see at least 2 players that have been in Cleveland for an extended amount of time traded away or leave.
All right, you got to give me like 2 seconds. I'll think of mine. I think I have one. And I got to think of the other. Yeah. Well, I have 2 in my head. I just got to find one more. I can't think of.
Because I feel like Frankie Lindor, if they fork over the money, he's going to stay. But they have to be able to want to spend the money, which Indians ownership doesn't historically do that.
Yeah.
I think that one of the 2 guys that are definitely going to leave is either going to be between Brantley or Kipnis. We're going to see one of those 2 guys leave. And then in the bullpen, we might not see Cody Allen again.
I was going to say, yeah, Cody Allen's going to get traded.
Yeah.
Jason Kipnis is going to get traded. And the third one, I really don't know. I mean, Andrew Miller sucked it up, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got rid of him.
And he was injured all year, so that's the...
Yeah. Well, when he played, he sucked too. Don't get it twisted. When he played, he was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he was healthy at all this year, and even if he was, he never got into it. He never got into a groove. He had a couple good games.
But I mean, maybe this offseason he'll get right and come back next year and
that's possible.
I don't know what to call him out of the bullpen.
Anchor.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, because he's like a super important 7th and 8th inning guy that Tito could not rely on this year. And we saw that, like, even though the 4 games that I went to, and we went to a couple together, 1 or 2 of them, they won 3 of the 4 games I went to, and one of them was a bullpen blowout, like the first of the year, the first one I went to. And that was against the Reds, blew them out. The game that we went to on, was it a Wednesday or Tuesday, something like that, they won. And then I went again later in the year. But regardless, the bullpen needs work, and then position players need to... I think the Indians need to concentrate on the outfield because they don't have enough. It's like the Browns. They don't have enough wide receivers. The Indians do not have enough outfielders because center field is a huge problem. Brantley doesn't stay healthy. Zimmer's broken every single ligament in his arms and legs. It's like the Grady Sizemore curse. You have a really good outfielder, and then he gets injured. And then we've got nobody out there. Then we bring up double and triple A guys. Nothing against Greg Allen. He's going to be pretty good as he gets some years under his belt. But for a young guy, definitely surprised me. But Indians got to work on that. So it's trouble because, I mean, the Astros, I will give them credit. They were good all year. And somebody, a 100-win team had to move on because there were 3 of the 4. So
yeah.
I did call the Boston Red Sox spanking the Yankees. I was like, oh, you want Boston? Good luck playing Boston. And then whammo, 3 out of 4.
That was nuts.
It was. And I laughed. I saw a video that was I think it was yesterday, that I saw the Yankees in their clubhouse. No, it was the Red Sox in the Yankees clubhouse playing New York, New York. I was like, oh, throwing the shade.
That was Aaron Judge, I think, that did that.
Yeah, and Aaron Judge. I was like, you mean Sid?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
My mom still says that. She's like, every time I see him, I can't help but think of Sid anymore after you showed me that. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's kind of like Jarrett when the Browns played the Jets. He showed me a side-by-side of Syndrome from The Incredibles next to Sam Darnold.
Oh, my. Oh no.
Have you seen? Did I send you that?
No, you didn't, but I have.
But you can see
I know
it.
exactly what he looks like now.
Yeah, you're just like, oh. I love finding. That's like my new favorite thing is finding players that look like somebody else. That's fantastic.
Syndrome.
I'm Syndrome.
All right.
With the explosion. All right. So now that the Indians are out, because your pick was the Indians over the Brewers in like what, 5 or 6? You said 6. I said Indians over the Braves in 5, and both teams are out. So my picks are completely gone because baseball is weird. But I think the Brewers are probably my pick in the NL. And I think, let's see, between Boston and Houston, I think Houston's going to win that one. So I'm thinking Astros, Brewers in the World Series.
Nope, I'm saying Brewers and Red Sox. Red Sox are too good. Yep.
That's true. Houston has a pretty good bullpen, but they have a couple holes there. It's like, I mean, their lineup hits with power pretty much every single day. So we shall see when that comes what the verdict is, but it'll be interesting. At least general consensus is Brewers are gonna do very well against the Dodgers. So
we shall see.
We shall see. Do I care? A little bit because it's baseball. But do I care as much as I did before? No. You're going to check on it. You're like, I'm not going to set aside time to watch the games. Like when the Cavs are on starting next week, I'll be like, I'll watch the Cavs. But it's like, oh, cool. The Brewers won. Cool. I'll look at the scores, but I'm not going to be invested in watching it. I'll watch elimination games of the World Series because I want to see who wins it and then be utterly disappointed and have my day ruined over the fact the Indians are not the ones celebrating. But, I like to do that to myself because I'm a Cleveland fan. Fan. There's no D there. What am I doing? So, speaking to the Cavs, starting next week, how do you think they're going to do this year?
Who's that? Cavs?
Cavs, yeah. Because I can see them being a 7th or 8th seed, maybe.
I would say an 8th seed at best. I don't think there's any other.
Yeah, I don't know what the predictions are for records in the East, but I mean they played the Celtics really strongly in the preseason, and preseason is pretty much what you're going to get in the regular season because it's not like the NFL where you can play all your backups because they've got 15 guys. So
yeah,
it's like, here's your lineup, deal with it. So I think that general consensus is they'll be 7th or 8th seed maybe at the best. But
yeah, I was going to say at best. If not, I mean, they'll be like a 9th seed probably.
9, yeah, they'll miss, but they should have a 8-9 playoff for the final spot. But I mean, then again, that would elongate the playoffs longer than what it already is, which is, in my opinion, the NBA playoffs are too long. They need to shorten the game series to 5 games. There's no reason it should be 7-game series as long as the games already take. And as infrequent, like they play it more infrequently than baseball. Where at baseball they're playing every 2 days max, Like there's a 1 or 2 game day break in between, like for travel. NBA, they're playing like 2 or 3 times a week. I'm like, a 7-game series takes half of the month. I'm like I got better things to do than spend a month and a half of my year watching somebody go way too deep into the playoffs. I'm like, it's June. I should be playing street ball and not worrying about the finals. It's baseball season. It's half consumed with baseball.
Yep.
Like I would love if the NBA reconsidered their playoffs, at least just a change in the format, because it's way too long.
I mean, I doubt they would change it now. It's worked so well for so long.
Yeah. It's just because they're so consumed with like, oh, the season's too long. I'm like, have you looked at how many games you add with how long the playoffs are? Because you can add, you have to win, is it 4 series pretty much? Because you have 16 teams, 16, 8, 4, 2. Yeah. You have 4 rounds. You have to win 16 games additional.
Yeah.
In theory, you could be playing at max 28 additional games on top of the 82 you're already playing. Like what? Like I don't think if you talk to any NBA player, they're gonna say like, "Hey, do you want to play a 110 game season?" They'd be like, "Heck no." Do I want to watch a 110 game season? No. Like I'm all for shortening the season, but start with the playoffs because those 82 games do matter. Everybody says baseball doesn't. I hate the people that say baseball season is too long. I'm like, they play 162 games to decide their finals for a reason. And like this year, 162 games wasn't enough. We had 2 or 3 tiebreakers. I'm like, this proves every point that I've said. Like, there's no point in shortening the season 20 games. I don't know. Idiots and analysts that say 140. I'm like, you need the 160. Trust me. It's crazy. So
it's worked this long. Why would you change it?
Yeah. Well, that's what they say about the NFL, and then they keep changing crap left and right. So it's like everything was fine. They're like, we need to change it and make it safer. I'm like, it's football. You're designed out there to go over and flatten the dude. Like the NFL birthed out of rugby. They didn't have pads, and they still don't use pads in rugby. That's why I call smear the queer with end zones. That's how I described it to my parents. I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, I know that. Like you just run around with the ball and just flat people. Yeah, I'm like, that's it. But you have a goal. They're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, that's okay. That's, I like to put weird spins on things. So.
Well, now that you mentioned football.
Yeah. What?
Pick 'em.
Yeah. No, we still got to get to our top 3s, though.
Oh, shoot. I forgot. That comes before.
Let's do that, and then we can... Because that'll lead us into the Winter Jam lineup coming up. So let's hit these top 3s. I don't have a... I don't really have an intro for you. So...
Yay.
Top 3 with Nathan Worth. What you got?
Yeah. All right. So what are your top 3 female-fronted rock bands?
Now you gave me this yesterday when we talked last night, and I was like, ooh. Because this is actually a really good another rock top 3. I had to think about it a little bit because I was like, I have to think of actual female-fronted rock bands, not just bands with females in them, but female-fronted. And my first one that I thought that I've loved for pretty much the longest time since I started listening to music was Fireflight. They're one of my favorites because I just love their tone of rock. She's got a really good voice. So Fireflight was the first one I thought of. The other one that I've listened to for the longest time as well, Evanescence.
Ooh,
because Amy Lee has an angelic voice, and so that's the old stuff, especially when Like, bring me to life with what's his face from 12 Stones, which that's how it got me into 12 Stones. I was like, whoa, this dude's awesome. And then 12 Stones existed. Now, they came out with an album last year, and it's not as good as their old stuff. But anyways. And then the third one, the newbie on the block, the new kid on the block, is everybody's current favorite. I think it was probably one of your favorites too, Ledger.
Yep.
Everybody loves Jen Ledger. And that led me to think, next year she's going to be at Alive. So is Skillet. They also have Fight the Fury, and two of those members are in Skillet, John and Seth. I'm like, can we get, and I'm gonna like send a video to Skillet on this and be like, okay, you guys have about 3/4 of a year, 9-10 months to figure this out, at the most, maybe 8, because I can't do math.
I don't know.
Yeah, 9, 8, 7, 8, 9, something like that. Whatever the math is, that they have to figure out the Skillet set being Skillet primarily, like 50% Skillet, and Jen Ledger music, and Fight the Fury music. So all in one set, we get the trio of every sort of Skillet. You get the Skillet, you get the little bit of electronic with Jen, you get the stuff that'll break our neck with Fight the Fury. All of it, our faces will be melted off. And they need to have all of that in one set.
That's ambitious. But I like it.
It is, and yes, I want it. I'm like, make it happen. Because John's pretty much the guy that kind of runs Skillet. He's like, oh, we'll play this, we'll do that. He runs like the pyro. He like John's pretty much like the head guy for Skillet. So, and he knows how to play drums for Jen's music. He obviously can just rip up the vocal cords in the microphone with My Demons, because that's been on repeat for the last couple weeks. And that comes out, what?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks the EP comes out. Woo! I don't have the do I have the crowd cheering? No, I don't. Okay, whatever. I thought I put that one in there.
Okay, do we want my top 3 now, or
yeah? I don't know. We got sidetracked on ambitious sets. So, who
I'm
are your
just gonna
top
make
3
mine quick.
female-fronted rock bands?
I'm gonna make mine quick.
Yeah.
3
Sure.
is clearly, I mean, you said it already. Jen Ledger, duh. Come on. And number 2, Evanescence is up there. I thought of somebody else, but I'm blanking on it now. I can't remember.
Oof.
And number 1, I don't know if you would have saw this coming, but Flyleaf / like Lacey Sturm.
She was going to be my one between that and Evanescence. I was like, Fireflight and Flyleaf. I was like, those are like the go-to pairs. So I'm like, I thought of it. She's definitely like my number 4. Is Lacey Stern music. So
I love Flyleaf. They're like my all-time favorite female band, like female-fronted band ever. Like there's no other close. Not even close.
Yeah. Zana comes up because she's new. So Underneath has been on Yes FM a little bit. It's been on some Christian rock radios. So, and she's up and coming, and Red and a couple other bands have shouted her out. I'm like, it's some good stuff, so I encourage that to be a listen as well. But, so, then let's see. And speaking of Ledger, she's on Winter Jam this year with Newsboys United, Danny Gokeem, and Disa. I like Ren Collective. That'll be good. Holland's going to be there. Manic Drive, I like them. And then I don't know half of the other people.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I'm like, I know most of them. Am I going to enjoy them? There's 4. New Song's always good. They always put on a good show.
Yeah.
But I've seen Newsboys once, and the one time I saw them, that's a lie. The first time I saw them, I've seen them like 3 or 4 times. I think 3. But the first time I saw them was right after Peter Furler stepped down as the lead singer and Michael Tate stepped in. I was like, no, I wanted to see Peter because he's Australian. Because I'm like, I think Newsboys is actually an Australian band if you really think about it, because half of, not most of their band is Australian. Three of them, I think. 2 or 3 of them. Regardless, I'll probably go see him in Columbus if my church's youth group goes that way, because I'll just end up going with them. But if not, I'll go to Cincinnati.
I'm going to go to the Cleveland one because it's on a Sunday, and it's the last date of the tour.
True. I like the Saturdays because I can do that and
I can't
have a
really
completely day off. Because if I go on Sunday, I'm going to be completely whipped going to work the next day. I'm like,
yeah.
But I'm also looking for a full-time job that's not before the butt crack of dawn.
Yeah.
So, all right, that wraps up that segment. And now we get into the fun stuff with the NFL picks. And yes, I wanted to use this sound button. So it's nice, short, sweet, to the point. Woo! NFL Week 6. The Browns are 2-2-1. Why are we 500? The Browns should be 5-0. I'm just saying it. They should be 5-0, and the refs are half the reason.
But we aren't.
But we aren't, because that's the NFL and that's the glory of it.
Yep.
So, but let's do a quick recap. 2 weeks ago, you whipped out 11 wins. So that's one of the big separation weeks that we had there. I went 8-7. So I have 2 winning weeks in a row, both 8-7. I'm slowly improving. Not fast enough. Because you went 9-6 this week. And it's because I think it was 2 weeks ago or last week where, it was 2 weeks ago where I had, if you take away 1 or 2 of the blowouts, all of my losses were cumulatively a difference of 9 points. Like, it was so close 2 weeks ago. I was like, I was this close. And a couple of those games were ones that we picked differently, where it's just like a field goal chose who got the win. I was like, oh, it was frustrating. But last week, while we were at the Browns game, which was absolutely nuts, because it was exciting because Baker did fantastic aside from getting sacked a million times because the offensive line occasionally forgets how to block. He had, 300 and some yards again and a touchdown. Yeah, 346. That's right. I know it was close to 350. But, and I think still to this day, nobody knows if that final overtime kick was blocked or not. I'm on the side.
If you listen to CBD, Greg Joseph clearly says that he got a good foot on the, and he kicked a good ball and he heard somebody block.
Yeah. And we were on the other end of the stadium, and you heard me say, I was like, was that blocked? Because I thought it was blocked. And I was like, the ball didn't go up at all. And then I see everybody on the other end cheering. The refs say, it's good. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. I was more surprised than overjoyed the fact that it went through, because I was like, that was the epitome of a dead duck. It was just like, yeet. Like the ball yeeted itself because it was spinning forward. I was like, that is a curveball. But
yeah, man, I'm convinced somebody got a hand on that.
Yeah,
I don't think it could have worked any other. I mean,
yeah, I'm like, you can't kick it and spin it forward and get it off of the ground unless he did that, and basically like an onside kick, hit it straight into the ground and then it bounced over everybody and then went 20 some yards in the air over the goalpost. I'm like,
yeah,
no, because one of the Ravens blockers said that he got a finger on it. I'm like, you had to have gotten more than a finger on it, and none of the Ravens said that they did. I'm like, there's a disconnect here.
Yeah, there's definitely definitely
somebody's lying. But the games that surprised me, other than the Browns, because that was fun, and I made a video on that. That came out Monday, so definitely check that out because we had fun.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. I mean, that's who I am. That's how I have to live my life. It sucks. Video games. Games that surprised me, the Titans came back and still lost to the Bills. Oof.
Yeah, cue the.
Yeah, where is it? Like, come on, it's the Bills.
Ooh.
I'm like,
Ooh.
and then I looked at highlights later. The Dolphins.
Oh.
They were up 17-0. And the Bengals, I want to say, and it's funny because Andy Dalton, he said in his postgame interview, he doesn't even credit the fact that he helped win the game. He didn't even want to credit that because he knew he sucked. He knew he was that bad because the Bengals defense scored almost all of their points. Like, of the 24 points, I think they had 2 turnovers taken back for touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They had 24 unanswered points in the fourth quarter alone. I'm like, the Bengals defense sort of won them the game, but the Ryan Tannehill's also just an eyesore. Pretty much like Jay Cutler. So the defense for the Bengals helped the Dolphins blow the lead. So that was an L on my end. Now, then you had the Packers, didn't you, over the Lions?
Yep.
And so the Lions surprised us there again. The Lions are whipping out these surprise wins over these big teams. They beat the Patriots, the Packers, and then lost the other 3 games. So we'll move on from that because that was last week, and then this is this week, which is that window needs to be closed. I'm going to bring this over here. Ta-da! All right. The fancy stuff. We are talking Eagles at the Giants tonight in New York. Does Odell Beckham Jr. and his rant that was unapproved by the rest of his teammates and his coach get them a win against the Eagles?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I have the Eagles in this one, and I'm like, just the Giants. They still suck. Like, I want them to be better. Just be like, oh, they're the Giants. They're decent, but like it would make me feel better. But it's just awkward that they suck because I'm like, are they gonna win a game, and which game are they gonna win and make me take an L? Because we know that's gonna happen. But
yeah.
say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I don't know. This week is gonna be tricky because this week can go any which way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because there was a batch in the middle of the picks that that I had to take a bit of time. I looked at it and I was like, I'll have to come back to these. Like, it was a handful that I'm like, I don't know. So, but per usual, we need to check. What is your first game?
Bucks Falcons.
Okay, we're on the same page, literally.
Sweet. Yeah.
And moving forward with that one was a pun. We walked right into it, okay?
Yep.
Speaking of the Bucks and the Falcons, do you like the Buccaneers in this one or not?
No, I have a feeling that Matt Ryan is going to stop being a bum and actually like hit Julio Jones
a couple times.
Julio will have 2 or 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, because how many fantasy points did he have for you last week?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, so we agree the Falcons are going to win that one at home. The Bengals are hosting the Pitt Stink Squealers, who are also 500 on the year, 2-2-1. Do you like the Steelers or the Bengals?
Bengals are hot right now, and the Steelers are still kind of a work in progress. So I'm going Bengals.
You're going Bengals. The Bengals. Now this will tell you who I picked. The Bengals can't stay hot forever, so I'm taking the Steelers.
Ah, all right.
I've liked the Bengals up to this point. I'm like, the division games are the ones that can go either way, and 65% of people agree with you at this point. but I'm gonna have to go Pittsburgh on this one because they'll whip something out of their butts. You never they'll be like, we're gonna lay an egg against the Chiefs, but we're gonna dominate the next team we play. I'm like, who are you? Are you okay?
Who are you? You good?
What's going on here?
What's going on here?
What the hell is going on out there? Vince Lombardi. The only time I consistently quote unquote swear, if that's even swearing. Anyways, the rematch of the Christmas Eve game. Once again, it's the Chargers coming to Cleveland for the Browns, and 37%. Are people insane? Or
disrespect.
That's a little, but the power rankings have the Browns consistently rising because they were 31 a couple weeks ago, and then 20, and this week they were 16. I'm like, hey, we're finally getting something here.
Yeah, because Tyrod was playing like doo-doo. And, yeah.
Yeah, so I have the Browns in this one.
Yep, me too.
This is the obvious take.
Okay. Texans, Bills.
Yeah, I like the Texans at home
Yeah,
against the Bills.
I have to agree. They're a 10-point favorite.
Yeah, that's part of the thing is that they're playing the Bills, so it's the Bills just I don't know how they have 2 wins this year. That's the part that doesn't get me. But yeah, I have the Texans. It's 87% of people are smart. That's about what the 13% is probably Bills fans, if we're honest.
Bills Mafia.
Chicago is heading down south to the. I don't know if they're flooded anymore because of the hurricane. Rest in peace to a couple people. A couple people died from Hurricane Michael. I just want to send prayers down to the southeast in all seriousness because that landed as a Category 4 in the panhandle of Florida yesterday, and it was a couple miles an hour from being a Category 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was a monster storm in wind and size. Like the storm is huge, and and the funny thing is, I was playing GTA yesterday. I was doing racing like I always do, because when you have 10,000 races under your belt, you got nothing else to do. And I was playing with a guy that was in like the public lobby. His mic, he's like, "Oh yeah, the hurricane just went through." He's like, "I'm all good right now." I'm like, "How do you still have power?" Like that's the one thing I'm curious. And then he's like, "Yeah, it was really bad 30 miles west of here." I was like, "What, did you get nothing?" Because the storm was pretty much all wind because it fired up last week out of nowhere next to Cuba. It's like, yeah, I want to be a hurricane. I'm like, oh, this is going to get bad.
Oof.
Yeah, big F in the chat for F is for Florida. So hopefully it's not too terrible. I know I saw a lot of
Nathan _Worth said F.
There we go. That goes in the podcast. F in the chat.
All right.
So back to this game. Speaking of Miami, Florida, Dolphins are hosting the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears are gonna win this one. That one's good consensus there.
Cardinals Vikings. Wonder who's gonna win that game.
Josh Rosen. Just kidding. It's gonna be the Vikings.
You like that? You like that?
Kirk Cousins. Michigan State versus LSU. That's what we got going on here. So I think 97% of people might be a little too high, but I'm still picking the Vikings. So
yeah, Vikings are a 10-point favorite. So
it's like if you don't pick them,
ooh.
Yeah, which I mean that's why they picked that. So the Jets are hosting the Colts. Which the Colts being 1-4 is a little surprising to me. I would think they would be better with Andrew Luck at least being 80%, 90% healthy. His shoulder's still not perfect. So
yeah.
So that's probably the knock, and why 67% of people like the Jets, which is who I pick.
Jets, Jets. Oh.
Woo.
Yep. I don't think there's any other way.
That's how I feel about that. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Sam Darnold is actually not doing too bad. He looks like a franchise quarterback. He has a lot of rough patches, but he's also solid.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why I liked him from the beginning after Ohio State, because I knew that when he played Ohio State, I was like, oh, cool. He's not going to do as well in the NFL as I thought, because Ohio State has a pro defense up there, or down there in Columbus. Go Bucks. But we upgrade back to the NFL. Seahawks at the Raiders. This is one that I thought was in the balance.
I'm going Oakland because I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't see them going 1-5. I just don't see it.
Oakland, I think, is going to upset the Seahawks. The Seahawks have played way too rough this year. That like John Gruden, I think, can coach them past the Seahawks. Now, let me click on the right link here, because it's different when I click on mobile stuff than on the computer. Oh my gosh, they've changed the website. I forgot they changed the website. The Seahawks are 14th in defense compared to the Raiders 31st. And the Seahawks, even though they don't have beast mode, are still 8th in rushing compared to the Raiders 23rd. But the Raiders have a 5th overall offense and passing compared to the 24th and 25th Seahawks. So it's the Seahawks defense versus the Raiders offense pretty much. But you got to score points to win. Stopping them doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You got to score, so that's why I have the Raiders.
Yep.
Panthers at the Washingtons. Because we don't want to offend people anymore, right? Screw all of those people. It's the Redskins. Deal with it. But they're losing to the Panthers.
Yep.
So, yeah. Josh Norman versus his other team. Josh Norman's played for everybody in the NFC East. Almost.
He's played for half of them.
That's good math. There. 2 divided by 4 is 50%. Math with Nathan Worth. It's that Carol Tucky math right there.
Yeehaw, all right?
Yeehaw. All right. And now for the hold on, I gotta find the good. I don't have a good tone for this one, but this one is pretty much for the Broncos.
Bye, have a great time.
Like, have a good time. You're not gonna beat the Rams, and like you're hosting the Rams in Denver. You're not beating the Rams. So have a great time. That's my lock of the week.
Yeah, I would
pretty
have
much.
to. My lock of the week is the Packers over the Bears. We aren't there yet.
Yeah, but we ain't there yet. We'll agree on that later, literally. Well, let's see. Hold on. Statistically, the lock of the week is the Vikings over the Cardinals, but that's according to everybody else, and we are not everybody else. Next, we have Jaguars at the Cowboys. America's
Cowgirls.
team. Yeah, the Cowgirls. No longer America's team because nobody's hating on the Browns anymore. Are the Browns America's new team? America's team?
I mean, yeah. I don't see how they aren't.
Yeah. I mean, it's everybody's favorite fan base pretty much, but we're already past that. We all know the Browns are the best. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Here we go.
Woof, woof.
All right.
Jaguars, I have them beating the Cowboys.
Yep.
All right. We're getting nowhere in terms of point differential here. How many games do we have different? One?
Just one.
Steelers, Bengals.
Yep.
Good Lord. You're picking your old favorite team, and I'm picking just the Steelers. Ooh, that was a solid 4 out of 10. It was
Thanks.
like it just popped and there was nothing. It was like
All right. Okay. All right.
Speaking of booing,
Ravens.
the Ravens,
Titans.
yeah. This one I thought was it could go either way. just because it's in
a
Nashville.
crapshoot.
Yeah, it's gonna suck, but it's gonna be a last minute decision if I choose to change it. Right now, I have the Ravens over the Titans.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are gonna pretty much come out gunning because they lost to the Browns, so they're gonna be a little angry.
They're salty over the fact that we blocked the field goal, but we didn't block the field goal. So, you gotta have like the eye squint and like rolling it back in your head, like yeah. If you can visualize that.
Oh. Yeah, we blocked it, but we didn't block it.
Did we block it? Did we didn't block it? Yeah. Money right there.
Okay, Chiefs
Moving
and
on.
Patriots, the hardest game of the whole entire thing.
Of the whole time, yeah. Now tell me why you picked who you picked.
I'm picking the Chiefs just because Patrick Mahomes. Like I said, you didn't pick him last week, which was a mistake.
Exactly.
But I can't not pick him. I just can't.
That's I made the mistake not picking him last week, which is dumb. Because I literally the week before I was like, you know what, I'm staying on the Patrick Mahomes bandwagon. And then I picked against him. I got off my own bandwagon. Which is dumb because I got off my own bandwagon and it crashes. Like, you get out of the steering.
Violently crashes.
Yeah, it violently crashed. But this week, I'm going to continue to repair the bandwagon and not hop back in it yet because whatever I was listening to today, the Patriots in October against a rookie quarterback are, I forget like over what time span it is, but they're like 30-11. Like 3-0 and 1-1. Like Tom Brady does not lose to rookie quarterbacks in October in Foxborough. As much as I think the Chiefs can upset them, the Patriots are favored by almost a touchdown. And so I don't want to go against that yet. This one I could change. I'm less likely to change it than the Ravens-Titans, but I'm going Patriots. And a slight majority have the Chiefs. But this one is probably one of the best Sunday night games that we're going to see all year.
Yeah, for sure.
Click on the rankings. Look at the matchup. The Patriots, for some reason, are just in the average, but they're right in the middle. They're going to keep going up because they're the Patriots. The Chiefs, fourth on offense, duh. But how do they have the worst defense in the league? What? It doesn't add up. So that one's going to be interesting, and right now that's our second difference. So I might have to leave it that way. Just if you change it, I'm going to swap too because we need to be different here. So if you don't change it, I'm leaving Patriots because when we get to Monday night, we know that one's a snooze fest. Because it's the 49ers, the Packers, and the 49ers don't have anybody. Because Garoppolo, I think, is out for the year.
Yep.
Because rest in peace, leg.
RIP.
So Packers are going to take that one.
Yep.
So, all right. I don't think I changed anything from when I picked it beforehand. I haven't second guessed myself yet. So. You know, if I'm going to be glad, I'm going to be really glad if I do really well. But it's also going to be dumb because I'm either going to gain 2 games on you or lose 2 games on you because we have so many. Like at this point in the year, we might agree the rest of the way, and I might be buying us Cavs tickets. But if you do win the group overall, I will also buy you a beer at the game or something like that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now we're spicing this deal up a little bit.
Yeah. Because I've wanted to give an award to like a gift or something to somebody that wins the group overall. And last year it was either shipping to Georgia or something. I'm like, you know what? Next time we see each other, I'll buy you a drink or something like that. but who knows when that next time is going to be Alciana. But at the game, I mean, we just make it a double whammy. So I don't know if it's going to take a lot for me to come back, but you're also a very strong picker as well. So it's going to be, you're going to have to be really bold on bad picks going in later in this year. Because once we hit the playoffs, it's pretty much set in stone. You're almost locked into your final position because there's like not enough games to overcome anything.
Yeah, unless you lose every single game.
Yeah.
But I mean, unlikely.
Don't put it out of the question because people have done that. There's people that have sucked in the playoffs, and I think, let me see what my playoff record is the last 2 years. 9-2. Oof. Hold on. That doesn't make any sense. Why did I score it that way? Whatever. Okay, so I went 9-2 there, and then 500 the rest of the way. So I'm still 7 games above 500 in the playoffs, which isn't bad. So in 11 games. Yeah, last year was the one I got the Super Bowl wrong, but last year 500, 500, 500, lost the Super Bowl. Previous year 3-1, 3-1, 2-0, got the Super Bowl right because I still have a scar on my knuckle. I busted my knuckle open from the Patriots comeback. I was like, I've never been excited for a Patriots win in my entire life. But I got it right. That's what mattered. So,
yes, sir.
Alrighty. This is a nice. It felt like a pretty swift moving episode, which is good. Still 50 minutes, so you know what? We're getting good at this. It's fun, per usual. We gotta have some hot takes, throw a little bit of shade. It's gonna get heated because the weather outside is getting cold. Because today it's like 50, 55, and the wind has not stopped blowing. It was a wake-up call this morning. Like, I left work. I was like, I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, for real.
It was way too cold this morning.
Who ordered this crap?
Yeah, who ordered
Did that?
more than nature. More than nature.
English.
It's not great. Oh, so okay. So I think we're settled on the picks. Blow the horn. It's the end of week 10. We will see you in 2 weeks. And you know what? I think I'll pretty much do it.
Yep.
All right. Send it out on a high note. All right. We'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.